So I'd like to introduce you to OfficerSmokey. This is a player that I encountered in a game of mine. Now, I will give some good news as to how I think the game is going cheater-wise that I think is actually a good thing. Now, granted, we just had a ban wave, and they banned 5,200 accounts, which is kind of on par for the normal players that they ban per month now. Which means that they're essentially banning probably the same groups of people over and over and over again. Now, I encountered this player in a game of mine, and it was a level, whatever he was a level 21, and I just saw him sitting at the back of the map sniping people, and I was like, I know for a fact this guy's cheating. Now, you see he has a squadron vehicle, which means he spent money on either the account or the vehicle to get the F5E squadron vehicle, and of course, once again, he's not very good at it. This is one of these things that I think is kind of funny. So we're encountering players like this where they don't do much. This guy literally is just doing stuff like this in his games and nothing else. I've looked at 3 of his other games, and this is all he does. So he's cheating in what is essentially an abusive way, unfortunately, because he's doing stuff like this. And just being, it's a proof of concept that this is a brand new account and proof that Anticheat doesn't work. I mean, we all know that Anticheats really don't work, but this is really dumb that this doesn't work in this way it does. Gaijin has repeatedly said, we protect our games, we do all this, we make sure our players are playing fairly. Really? I understand people that are veteran players bullying low tier because they enjoy the game playing low tier and stuff like that, but I love cheaters like this. This is so dumb. Oh, by the way, there's a tree there because you don't know how to play the game. So this is what I'm saying with Gaijin. You care about your game, quote unquote, care about your game. Clearly you don't, because you can literally let people do this all day long. If an anti-cheat can't detect something as simple as this, where it's not within line of sight, the player has no recollection to the player, he's doing stuff like this from across the map, and you still, wow, that's insane, you still haven't resolved any of the cheating issues, and you let these guys cheat over and over and over and over again. Like, I saw a guy the other day, there was a post on Reddit that popped up the other day, that was a guy named Dinio, like _Dinio_ had been banned previously in the game. And there's literally another same name, says _Dinio_, but I guess there's probably a Cyrillic letter in there, that's probably the E or whatever it is, just the same looking name, and yet he's totally fine cheating in the same exact way. Same count situation, same everything. Like, everything is the same. Person purchased a new account, and that's all he does. And that's crazy to me, because, once again, Gaijin is... thank God he died to cast. But this is what this guy does. He gets like 4 or 5 kills in this vehicle, and then dies, basically. Now, of course, it's switched players, because Gaijin 3 plays are still tragically bad. So yeah, that's just what he does constantly. He jumps in another vehicle and he goes, 5-1 in his vehicles because he cheats. Now, granted, this guy spent money on a Squadron F5 for some reason and hasn't done any of their premiums. So he's once again doing the cool thing to Gaijin and ruining the low tier player experience by doing this. Now, I mentioned earlier that Gaijin has been banning players. Now, this is... So I play regularly still. I still enjoy the game. I still play with the squadron. I play with a bunch of people that I deem as friends. I sometimes jump in different discords. I play with random people. I still enjoy the game. I play sort of 8.7, 9.7, 10.3 recently, 4.7, 4.0. And this match where I encountered this guy was a 4.0 match. I just wanted to play a low tier match just for giggles, just to be a little goober. And this guy didn't kill me, but I noticed in chat he was using the 152 and was just bopping people from across the map. And I was like, that thing is not that mobile. He got a kill within the first, 20 seconds. I think it was on Carpathians. And I was like, there's no way he's, that does not seem legit. So the general premise was, it doesn't seem legit. He's doing stuff like this where he's shooting at a guy he literally can't see. And he has 80+ rounds loaded in his gun. So if that's not an indicator of what these people are doing, then that's just what it is. But what I'm saying is a good thing is that Gaijin obviously, like I said, banned 5,000 people this month, but what you're not realizing is that this is the first cheater I have encountered in over a month of playing. Now, to me, that feels pretty good. I know there's probably people that experience more cheaters or not, but I really do think that the cheater has not increased in the amount of people that have gone up. I still think it's the same, like 5,000 people who are doing it, which would essentially mean less than 5% of the player base is cheating. But if they're banning 5,000 accounts, that could essentially mean that one person might have more than one account, which is what I would bet is the case. So my earlier predictions that I've made before, where it's like less than 3 to 2% of the player base is cheating, is more likely correct, because a lot of the accounts are, you know, botter accounts where like one person owns like 10 accounts and they try to sell them, and that's just what it is. So that's what the accounts tend to be. So it's, in terms of community, of the community of cheaters, it's, I would hard bet it's a less than 3 to 2% of people cheating in the game, which is 2,000 to 3,000 people, which is nothing in a game of the ecosystem this size. Because this game has, on average, 80 to 100,000 people playing at any one time, which, based on math, that's less than 1% of the player base who is cheating. And it hasn't grown. We've had, obviously, the really big times when Chinese cheaters got banned, and it was like 12,000 people that got banned, or more than that. It was like 20 to 30,000, I think, total. But it was a bunch of botter accounts, scripter accounts, and cheater accounts, blah, blah, blah. But in that regard, it proves the concept that because Gaijin bans roughly the same amount of people per month, it really does mean that most of the people cheating are like the same people over and over, which means they just buy premiums, buy an account, whatever, spend their money, waste it, get banned, rinse, repeat, which for a cheater ecosystem is way better than something like Tarkov, which Tarkov used to have like a really bad cheater ecosystem. Now it's still really bad, but it's, you know, they have their same loops of players. Now their anti-cheat is still garbage, like Gaijin's is, and because Gaijin will never learn from their own mistakes, because as we see in this game, with the sound engine being garbage and the general mechanics being just plain old boring, the KH-38MT, which is a missile that doesn't exist, completely obliterating top tier. Like, I think Justin TV played a game recently based on a video I watched. It just proves the point that Gaijin is doing the bare minimum to make the game work, and just not caring about anything else. The sound system recently, even though they quote-unquote fixed it, is just even worse. They lowered the threshold that you can hear people from, and they're still silent tanks. And Gaijin is constantly saying that, oh, we fixed the sounds, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that doesn't happen. There's still a lot of silent tanks in this game. And it comes down to the fact that Gaijin's sound developer, whoever is developing their sound system now, whatever dev is, I think he's on LinkedIn, which is funny because he's been praised for his sound, and yet he is completely probably one of the worst sound devs in the entire industry, I would bet. It's insanely sad when you have a software like Fmod, which is a very good sound engine, and you just don't utilize like any of it. He's using like maybe 10% of the total sound engine of the capabilities of this game. I would love to go back to pre-2019 sound engine, because that's when you could like hear everything, and it was such a good sound engine. Nowadays, it's all just farmed out to this one sound guy who doesn't know how actual sound works, and he keeps reverting sounds, changing it, doesn't fix anything, makes the things be, you know, oh, let's have stuff be silent or not render in or not do any of this stuff, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work, and I think Gaijin needs to do a massive overhaul, but the problem is Gaijin is very stingy and doesn't want to spend money, and we're about to get $80 naval ships. And what's crazy about the naval that I'm going to finish on is that naval might have the first $90 premiums based on eras. We're getting the Bismarck or whatever, the guys now as an $80 premium, but based on eras, I mean, like the Missouri might be a $90 premium based on that, but I don't know. I don't play naval, so I have no idea how that's going to work out. So I'm going to leave this here. Like I said, I'm kind of glad that there is not a lot of big continuance of cheaters. It's not as prevalent as it used to be. The most thing you really have to deal with annoying players in the game right now, at least as far as I'm aware, are top-tier squadron players who think they're hot shit, and they absolutely suck at the game, except for in squadron battles. I encountered an AVR player the other day who was like trying to seal club, and he got curb stomped 3 deaths in a row. He went 3 kills in 1, and he got 3 deaths in a row and immediately left. So I do like that AVR is a very nice group of people. I have met their commander and some of their squadron members, but I really wish squadron people would stop being so toxic, because yeah, you're really hot shit at a video game, but everywhere else not in squadron battles, you're pretty atrociously bad. So I'll leave this here. As always, if you're a person in question you want to lead to me, I'm going to try to do more, but work has been insane the last several months, which is why my video content schedule has been very limited. And I also was sick with the dreaded C-19 for essentially 3 weeks, which was so fun because that's great. But I also work somewhat remote right now, which is kind of nice. So I had some relief there. So as always, I hope you have a good rest of your morning, day, evening, or night. Have a good one.